I would like to open tonight's council meeting, Tuesday, July 3rd of 2018. If we could all please stand for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Madam Secretary, may I please have roll call?
Olivia Brady, Valerie Scott Cooper, Hakeem Jones, Heather Lewis, Rebecca Smith, Derek Perry, Sonia Sanders.
Here. Would a member of council like to make a motion to approve the workshop minutes from June 19th of 2018? All in favor? Aye. Any edits or revisions? Seeing none, the ayes have it, and those meeting minutes are approved. Earlier this evening, we had an executive session pertaining to personnel and litigation issues. No presentations this evening. Vice President Perry, do we have any announcements this evening?
Yes. The Norristown 4th of July celebration. It's 3 great events, 1 amazing celebration. It starts at 8 a.m., correct? It's at 8 a.m., not 9:30. There is going to be a new parade route, band and floats and performers, mummers and local groups. There will also be a block party on Main Street that will have live bands and performances, food and craft vendors, a beer garden featuring Country Hock and Brewing Company, Elwood Park, zoo, kids zones, and then at 1 p.m. there will be concerts at Elwood Park, Old School, and Wildflower, and then fireworks at dusk. Any other announcements from anyone else? Oh, I'm sorry. And also, DJ Amir from 103.9 will be the DJ that day.
Excuse me, Councilman Perry. I believe Councilwoman Scott Cooper did have a different time, was her understanding? So 8 a.m. is the setup and 9:15 is the actual kickoff of the parade? Okay.
Any other announcements? Nope.
Thank you, Vice President Perry. Madam Secretary, do we have any public comments this evening?
Yes, Charles Termine. Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening. If you could, please state your name and your address, please.
My name is Charles Termini. I'm known as Sonny in town. I live at 754 Stanford Street in Norristown. I had spoke at the last meeting that we had on the 19th. I'd like to know if council has decided to amend the sections that I had requested. Can I get an answer on that before I make a statement?
For the sidewalk now. Okay. So, Mr. Termini, if we could we talk offline, please?
I'm sorry.
Could we talk offline, please, in regards to your question that you have asked?
It was declined?
I said, can we talk offline, please, in regards to that?
I don't understand if you're saying that my request for the amendment was allowed or if it was declined.
The request for your amendment was declined.
Oh, isn't that just wonderful? Okay, I'm a lifelong resident of Norristown. and over the past few years, I have been involved in rare situations surrounding my ability to legally vend in the municipality of Norristown. What is odd, that I have been a vendor in this town for the past 30 years. Ever since new council has taken over, I've experienced harassment while vending, and vending is my livelihood. It has been hindered, which causes me emotional distress and have loss of wages and feel I'm being discriminated against. I am here today to ask for the following information. The Norristown Municipality non-discrimination policy and proof that all of those applied to vend in Norristown had to go through a criminal background check, as I had to. I have permission from 2 businesses, which I gave council copies of their letters stating that they would be happy to have me there. And I'm going to inform council that I'm going to vend on their property. Please note, reviewing the council video of the meeting on June the 5th, 2018, a presentation was given by the president of the Chamber of Commerce, Ms. Kim Ramsey. She said she partnered with a Miss Tamara King. Ms. King stated that in May, all of those that had vended in the past would be invited to be a participant. As of today, I have not received any invitation. And after 30 years of participating on the 4th of July, I had to go to Municipal Hall and ask. Last year, I was falsely accused and removed from the premises after I had been set up to serve the public. During the course of the 4th of July celebration, till this day, I don't know why. I never did anything wrong, and I feel that the darkness of discrimination has affected me. I don't understand how council can decline my request to amend the ordinance. There are no businesses where I vend. There are no businesses whatsoever. I do not vend on the sidewalk. I vend on the owner's property. There are 67 stores on Main Street. On Marshall Street, excuse me. Out of them 67 stores, which I researched, not one of them people that own that store had to go through a criminal background check. I'm 72 years old. I've been here all of my life. Why did I have to take a criminal background check? I'm very sorry to have this attitude towards this council. I have spoken to some of you individually, and yous have supported me. 4 of you. But yet you're telling me that my request is declined. It makes no sense to me. I'm just totally insulted that you have businesses on Marshall Street with people that are from another country, and you support them, but here I've been here all my life, and yous won't support me? This is ridiculous. I'm sorry that I feel that way. I'm sorry you made me feel that way. Thank you very much for listening to me. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Thank you,
Madam President, I'd like to make a comment.
Don't worry.
You know, you've been at every one of the meetings that I came here and talked to council. Council presidents always said, Sonny, you're not doing anything wrong. You don't do what you're doing.
As a council member, I would like to make a comment regarding this issue. So tonight, this is the first time that I've learned that we denied his request to vend. I would like to go back as a group and discuss it and come up with a consensus on what the response is before publicly announcing that we're going to deny something.
So,
I would like to be included on decisions and not spoken for.
so
matter
as
what
a
it is.
chair, Mr. Jones, public comment is not a Q&A. And this decision, I believe Mr. Jones, meaning Crandall Jones, has sent out more than enough communication for you to have an indication of what the situation was and where the municipality was headed.
This isn't Mr. Jones's decision to make. It is a council body that can
It's not
consider it.
Mr. Jones's
He
decision.
brings it to us, we
You're
decide
not-
as a group, and then we
Point of
come
order.
back,
Point of
to
order.
Mr. Jones and say, this is what the
It's
council,
point of order,
as a group,
Councilman Jones,
whether
point
it's
of
a
order.
vendor or anything.
Point of order.
But to speak for an entire body of
It's
seven
not,
people,
you're
I
not
don't agree
under,
with.
you don't even understand Robert's Rules of Order to even make that comment.
That you made a comment that his request has been denied and hasn't gone through the entire council body.
Hakeem, the request doesn't have to go through the council body. There's rules and regulations. Mr. Solicitor, do you care to opine on the situation to inform Councilman Jones on what the situation and the procedures and policies are?
Again, Crandall Jones, the municipal administrator, conferred with our office and Mr. Hitchens in our office, went over our current policies related to vending, trying to ensuring that we didn't treat Mr. Termini or anyone else any different than anyone else, and strictly applied our rules and regulations that we have in effect, and protected the ability for us to preserve our right-of-way, meaning, the municipality of Norristown. If council wishes to revisit that, that would be a policy decision of council. But the current rules and regulations, I'll be happy to explain to council at a later date or a workshop session or anything related to that.
So, Mr. Solicitor, if I may ask, so then are we talking legal repercussions if we're not following the policies and regulations?
Well, obviously, Mr. Jones, meaning Crandall Jones, consulted our office, and we treated Mr. Termini as we would treat any other business. If we wanted to differ from that, then that would leave us open to possible litigation. So if council wanted to take a different tack, meaning all of council or 4 votes to implement a new policy related to that, that should be discussed at a workshop session and then brought forward. But the current law was applied equally to Mr. Termini as it would be to any other business wishing to vend in the right-of-way within the municipality of Norristown.
Thank you, Mr. Solicitor. Vice President Perry.
Mr. Solicitor, can you give us the criteria of the president and what the president does, please?
The president of council, per the charter, basically sets the agenda and controls debate among council per the Robert Rules of Order. Robert Rules of Order is not necessarily binding on a body, but per our resolution, we related to our meetings, we've adopted Robert Rules of Order. So Miss Sonia Sanders, if she so chooses, could, after a time of debate, cut off that debate or bring a point of order.
Can anyone else on council set the agenda, put anything on the agenda, et cetera, et cetera?
Everybody is, if the council president controls the agenda, if the council president agrees with an action but comes to the council president and independently has 3 other council members to put something on the agenda, then that could happen as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Solicitor and Vice President Perry. Madam Secretary, do we have any communication this evening?
No, we don't.
Thank you. Next order of business we have is the municipal solicitor pertaining to ordinance 18-02 in regards to the discrimination prohibited.
Thank you very much, Madam President. As was discussed at our last workshop meeting, there was a vote to authorize our office to put in final form and work with Norristown administration on codifying a human relations ordinance. To briefly describing this to the public, Pennsylvania and the federal government has protections for various protected classes. One of those is not LGBTQ or rights under the law. So the Pennsylvania Human Relations Act allows municipalities to set up their own Human Relations Commission to deal with areas of discrimination related to LGBT rights if a municipality sees it fit. 48 municipalities in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania has set up a Human Relations Commission to deal with LGBTQ rights, and that's what Norristown has here. So what would happen is if somebody felt aggrieved and felt that they were discriminated against for any of the classes in here, and I'm going to go ahead and read them, they would be on the basis of actual or perceived sexual orientation, gender identity or gender expression, race, color, religion, ancestry, national origin, place of birth, age, disability, education, familial status, height, marital status or weight. Then somebody can make a complaint to the municipal administrator. The municipal administrator will provide a form to that. And then if this ordinance goes ahead and passes, Norristown would appoint a Human Relations Commission. That Human Relations Commission would take on a mediation faction. So if there was a person that was aggrieved and there was a business or someone else that allegedly committed a discrimination, the Human Relations Commission would wish to bring those parties together and hopefully mediate that absent litigation. The Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission offers free training, and once council appoints a Human Relations Commission, if they decide to go ahead with that, I would request, or I would suggest that Mr. Jones contact them and set up the free training provided for those commission members related to that. Some various questions. Obviously, this kind of ordinance has been in the news in a lot of other municipalities in the Commonwealth. So some of the other questions that I have received in other municipalities are, one is, can this be done by referendum? The answer is no. It has to be a legislative act from a municipal government. The Borough of Hatboro, which my office also represents, asked us to research that question. We researched it and also confirmed that with the Montgomery County Board of Elections. Also, too, folks may remember, the public may remember, about 6 weeks ago, there was a U.S. Supreme Court case related to the Colorado Human Relations Commission and and a discriminatory act where people were asked to bake a cake for an LGBT couple. That was litigated by the Colorado Human Relations Commission, and the U.S. Supreme Court actually struck down the action of the Colorado Human Relations Commission to fine people for failing to bake that cake. But the action was not on the Colorado Human Relations Commission law. It involved discriminatory bias by some commission members, by some of the comments they made during the course of the hearing. So that's why I recommend to the manager and council, once we appoint the commission, that they go ahead and receive that training, so something that happened in Colorado would not happen here. If the mediation function was not successful, what this would do is give the aggrieved party the ability to file a complaint in the Montgomery County Court of Common Pleas. We would not be an active participant in that complaint. Of course, there's always a risk that we could be subpoenaed, or council or a member of the commission could be, or the manager. But that would be, as in any code enforcement case or any other part of litigation, that would happen. So that's a summary of what this Human Relations Commission ordinance would do, subject to anybody on council's questions.
Thank you, Mr. Solicitor. Councilwoman Brady.
This ordinance goes into 90 days per the Pennsylvania Human Relations Act, because it's set up specifically to allow for training of those commission members that I referenced.
Okay, so at what point would we be appointing the commission?
You can appoint it once this ordinance is enacted. You can go ahead and appoint the commission. Not tonight, but in a future council meeting. So I would suggest it be like any other board or commission within Norristown, that someone submitted an application of interest to the municipal administrator. Perhaps it would be advertised on the website and various, what we do for any other commission.
So my first question would be, did anybody communicate during their time period?
The administrator says no.
Council, any other questions or comments? Seeing none. Councilman Jones.
I think it is a great idea to put this in place for the first time as long as we've been in existence. I just want to reiterate that discrimination can happen across all levels that were mentioned in this paragraph. I think going forward, we need to also take into consideration senior citizens who are on fixed incomes who would like the opportunity to coexist in a community like Norristown. So, gender, race, color, religion, ancestry, national origin, place of birth, disability, education. I think diversity goes across many levels, and I think there's better ways that we can enforce this ordinance so that everybody is taken care of.
Council, any other questions? Madam Secretary, may I please have?
Was there a motion and a second?
No.
I don't believe there was.
Would a member of council like to make a motion?
So moved.
Madam Secretary, may I please have roll call?
Olivia Brady, Valerie Scott Cooper, Hakeem Jones, Heather Lewis, Rebecca Smith, Derek Perry, Sonia Sanders.
Aye. The ayes have it, and that motion is approved and passed. Next order of business we have is the opioid class action litigation. Mr. Solicitor.
Thank you very much. In a matter of executive session before the last council meeting, there was a presentation from a law firm that had pursued opioid litigation on the behalf of municipalities throughout actually the nation. And the thought was that a municipality would authorize a complaint to be filed in the Montgomery County Court of Common Pleas for the damages that they received, that the municipality received because of the opioid epidemic. Damages would be a sit down with the finance department, figuring out health care costs for employees, also to the effect of the opioid crisis on the police and fire department and the calls they've had over a certain period of time. And those would be taken into account when asking for damages. This would not be pursued by my law firm. This would be another law firm that specializes in these kind of cases. And just so people understand, there would be no out-of-pocket expenses for the municipality. It would be that law firm would receive, the Bear law firm would receive a quarter of whatever verdict or damages were judged by the court, plus costs. And then the other 75% or whatever it came to would be returned to the municipality's budget.
Thank you, Mr. Solicitor. Do we have any questions or comments? Seeing none, would a member of council like to make a motion to consider taking part in litigation regarding the opioid crisis?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any nays? Hearing none, the ayes have it. That motion is approved and passed. Thank you, Mr. Solicitor. Next order of business we have is from the municipal administrator in regards to the FOP negotiated labor agreement.
Thank you, Madam President. Council, as discussed earlier in executive session, we're pleased to announce that the municipality has reached agreement with the Fraternal Order of Police on a 4-year contract running from 2018 through December 31st of 2021, and that contract would be retroactive to April 1st of 2018. It was a very good negotiation and a non-confrontational negotiation with the FOP, and I appreciate the fact that it was a very professional and good negotiation. Briefly, what was negotiated as far as wages were concerned was in 2018 a 2.5% increase retroactive to April 1st. In 2019, a 2.5% increase. 2020, a 2.75% increase, and in 2021, a 3% increase. We also made some increases in terms of clothing allowance, life insurance benefits, eyeglass and orthodontic allowances as well. In terms of things that were significant for management and the municipality as a whole, there was a cap put on longevity after 21 years. So there'll be future savings for the organization. Existing employees were grandfathered in to the current longevity policy. There was also a reform, an agreed upon reform of the extended sick leave policy, as both the FOP and the municipality agreed that some procedures need to be put in place to eliminate abuse of extended sick leave. We came to agreement on that. A pension reform agreement in terms of the calculation for pension as well. That'll have long-term benefits for the bottom line to the municipality. And we also streamlined the grievance procedure so as to allow for the police chief to actually be the first point of grievance instead of directly to the manager. And certainly if there's no resolution there, then it would come to the manager. So beyond that, there was some minor punctuation and language changes that we agreed to. But all in all, a very good contract and fair contract, we believe, for both the municipality and the FOP. And with that, we put this agreement forward for council's consideration for approval.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Council, do we have any questions or comments? Seeing none, would a member of council like to make a motion to approve the contract? I'm sorry, would a member of council like to make a motion to approve the contract for the FOP negotiated labor agreement? All in favor? Aye. Any nays? Hearing none, the ayes have it. That motion is passed and approved. You're welcome, Mr. Jones. Next order of business we have is planning and municipal development.
Thank you, Madam President. It's my pleasure to bring to Council the amended ordinance for the Community Development Block Grant Funds. Since May, when the Department of Urban Development, Housing and Urban Development informed the municipality that its annual grant award had been increased by $91,756 to allow for a budget of $887,081, whereby certain programs were then recommended by the Planning Department for Council to consider to increase, and the proposed increase was basically presented at the last council meeting, and council authorized the Planning Department to advertise the ordinance, which was then advertised, and the following programs were then considered. This particular advertisement has been out there for 30 days for comment. The following programs were considered. The owner-occupied housing rehabilitation had a proposal of a $60,000 increase. Housing rehabilitation support had an increase of a proposed increase of $15,593. Code enforcement had a proposed increase of $22,910. The Small Business Assistance Center had a proposed increase of $45,000. The administration for the Community Development Block Grant Funds had an increase that brought up the budget to $166,071. As I mentioned, the advertisement has been out there, and the comment period of 30 days has since been completed. No comments were received, and we did submit the application to HUD, and now we're asking council to approve this ordinance to meet the local requirements. The total amount again for the annual is $887.81. So I kindly ask council to approve this ordinance tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Musanye. Council, do we have any questions or comments? Seeing none, would a member of council like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 18-04 of 2018, amending the 2018 CDBG budget ordinance of 1718 of 2017? Madam Secretary, may I please have roll call?
Olivia Brady. Valerie Scott Cooper. Hakeem Jones. Heather Lewis. Rebecca Smith. Derek Perry. Sonia Sanders.
Aye. This motion is passed and approved.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next order of business we have is public safety.
Good evening, Madam President, members of council. The first item on our agenda for public safety tonight is the ordinance 18-03, which is a parking restrictions amendment. The first part of that ordinance is to amend the parking time limit in front of 660 East Main Street, which is Weinstein Plumbing, to a 15-minute parking area. This is in order to facilitate the business's parking of customers. The next item in that ordinance is to prohibit parking on the south side of Airy Street in 40 feet of each direction of High Street. This is in order to facilitate cross traffic to safely cross Airy Street or turn onto Airy Street, providing more of a visual avenue for cars that are going across the intersection. The third item is to erect a stop sign at Violet and Sandy Street for Sandy Street eastbound traffic. This is in order for the Violet Street traffic to have safe passage onto Sandy Street, and in addition will provide additional safety by slowing down the traffic on Sandy Street. So ordinance 18-03 is being proposed for approval.
Thank you. Councilwoman Brady?
Thank you. Specifically regarding the parking restrictions, are there any residents that are affected by these restrictions?
There's no residents that are affected by the East Main Street location. Along East Airy Street, there will be approximately 4 or 5 spaces taken away, but it doesn't seem there's plenty of parking on both sides of the street there.
Thank you.
Council, any other questions or comments? Seeing none, would a member of council like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 1803, which amends the parking restrictions on the 600 block of East Main Street at the intersection of East Airy and High Streets? Excuse me, and the installation of a stop sign at the intersection of Sandy and Violet Streets. Madam Secretary, may I please have roll call?
Olivia Brady. Valerie Scott Cooper. Hakeem Jones. Heather Lewis. Rebecca Smith. Derek Perry. Sonia Sanders.
Aye. The ayes have it, and ordinance 18-03 for parking restrictions amended is approved and passed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The next item on public safety is Resolution 18-132, entry-level police officer eligibility list. We're asking that council consider approving this resolution in order that we can hire 3 additional officers. The history behind this is that in May of this year, we joined with the Montgomery County Consortium of Chiefs to give a written test. Of that written test, we had 260 applicants took the test, of which 198 applied to Norristown. The top 50 applicants were invited to a physical agility test in June. Of those 50 applicants, 41 passed, 4 failed, and 5 did not show up. We had 41 passing applicants were offered oral examinations. The oral examinations were conducted by myself and 2 lieutenants on command staff. We had 23 that passed, 4 failed, 9 did not show up, and 5 withdrew prior to their oral appointment. On June 28th, the Municipality of Norristown Civil Service Commission adopted an eligibility list ranking the top 23 candidates. On that list, the top 2 candidates have military preference. They are James Borgia and Justin Payton. In our proposal, we are asking that if they pass their background check, they be offered conditional offers of employment, and that the chief be given the ability to assess the following candidates to determine the best suited candidate and offer that candidate a conditional offer of employment, as well as an entry-level police officer pending a background investigation.
Thank you. Council, do we have any questions or comments? Seeing none, would a member of council like to make a motion to approve Resolution 18-132, approving the civil service entry-level police officer list and granting permission for the chief of police to identify and have offers of conditional employment sent to 3 candidates on the entry-level eligibility list? Madam Secretary, may I please have roll call? Olivia Brady. Valerie Scott Cooper. Hakeem Jones. Heather Lewis. Rebecca Smith. Derek Perry. Sonia Sanders.
Aye. The ayes have it. Resolution 18-132 is approved and passed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The next resolution for consideration by council is 18-133, which removes some disabled parking spaces, handicap spaces at the following addresses: 1017 West Airy Street, 541 Chain Street, 633 Corson Street, 613 Green Street, 209 Noble Street, 1101 Swede Street, 1204 Tyler Street, and 1030 Walnut Street. The police department has assessed these spaces and found that either the person who requested the handicap space has either passed on or moved from the area. Therefore, we're asking for approval of resolution number 18-133.
Thank you. Council, any questions or comments? Seeing none, would a member of council like to make a motion to approve resolution number 18-133 regarding removal of the reserved handicap parking spaces for the addresses that were listed?
So moved.
Madam Secretary, may I please have roll call?
Olivia Brady.
Aye.
Valerie Scott Cooper. Hakeem Jones. Heather Lewis. Rebecca Smith. Derek Perry. Sonia Sanders.
Aye. The ayes have it, and resolution 18-133 for disabled parking is passed and approved. Would a member of council like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting? All in favor? I doubt that there's any nays. The ayes have it, and meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
I have to start it now, not during the meeting.
So.